as many people know, Manchester City in the upcoming summer window are going to be having a massive rebuild. And I think a lot of people are expecting a lot of big names, emotional names, to leave Manchester City in this upcoming summer window. And so what I thought would be a good idea is to go through the entire Manchester City squad and assess which players should stay, which players should go, which players should maybe be loaned out, all of these type of things. So let's just get straight into it. And as you can see in front of you, this is going to be done via a tier list today. I've got the options of starting 11, squad option, loan, and sell. And let's just kick it straight off with Manuel Akanji. And for me, he goes into the squad option area. He's probably not good enough to be a nailed-on starter in this Manchester City side, but I've got to say he's been a really good acquisition for the club over the past couple of seasons. He was integral in the treble-winning side, playing it right back ahead of Kyle Walker quite a lot in that season. So for me, he's got good versatility. He's relatively quick. He's good on the ball. Yes, he can have those odd moments where he's a little bit clumsy on the ball and stuff like that, but I think overall he's quite a good player. So for me, he goes into the squad options. No qualms about that. Then for Nathan Ake, this one's a tough one. I'm going to put him in squad option for now. He could go into the sell option, depending on, the rest of the squad, how we go through it, what we decide on. I'm going to go squad option for now because he is a really good squad option, playing as that acting centre-back, obviously, when we need centre-back options, playing as a left-back as well, when we need a more defensive left-back to maybe hold down a really top right winger like Mo Salah, for example. So for me, I'm going to put him in the squad option for now, but that could change going forward depending on how many players we decide to move out this squad. Kevin De Bruyne, now, by the way I'm doing this is what I would personally do. So for me, I'm going to put Kevin De Bruyne in squad option. I know he's obviously leaving in the summer, and there's nothing we can do to change that. That will happen in the summer, but this is my opinion, and my opinion is that Kevin De Bruyne should be kept in the squad as a squad option, not as a starting 11 option. Obviously, he's getting on now. He's not going to be able to play the minutes going forward that he previously did for Manchester City, but I would keep him in as a squad option because the quality he has in the final third is just completely unmatched in the entirety of Europe. Even this season, he has the most amount of chances created per 90 minutes. It's absolutely unreal what he can do on a football pitch. So for me, I would keep him in the squad, but obviously he is going to leave at the end of the season. Ruben Diaz, he's a starting 11 player. He's not been at it this season, absolutely granted, but his leadership, he's still quite young. He's won a Premier League every single season since he's joined Manchester City, bar obviously this season. An absolute stonewall part of our defense he has to be in. Jeremy Doku, I hate the fact that I'm putting him in squad option. I absolutely love Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku's going as a squad option for me. He's just not good enough in terms of the numbers off the left-hand side to be able to lock down a starting spot in this Manchester City side. But he's very useful coming off the bench. Absolutely unbelievable trickery. I love the way he's so direct. He runs at people. A breath of fresh air as a winger, really. But he's not going to go on my starting 11 options. But then moving on to Ederson in goal. And look, I know he's probably going to leave in the summer. That's my personal opinion. I think that he will leave. Maybe he's got his mindset on leaving the club. Maybe he wants to get out of England. There are all obviously these type of factors that come into play. However, if it was me deciding, starting 11. I really do love Ederson. I think that he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Is he the best goalkeeper in the world? No, of course. He does have his weaknesses to his game. But I think that he's still quite a solid shot stopper overall. And the distribution which he offers to the side is just like no other goalkeeper in the world. His distribution is absolutely outrageous. 4 assists in the Premier League this season. So for me, if it was up to me, I would be keeping Ederson in the starting 11 as our number 1 goalkeeper heading into next season. Phil Foden, I'm going to back Phil Foden. I really am. I'm going to put him as a starting 11 option. A lot of people are jumping on the train right now of criticizing Phil Foden, saying maybe Phil Foden won't get back to his best, all of this type of stuff. What I've seen from Phil Foden in his entire career at Manchester City has given me the confidence to say, I think he'll get back to his best. He was absolutely unstoppable off the right-hand side for us last season, cutting in on that left foot, scoring massive goals for Manchester City, scoring hat-tricks, winning PFA Player of the Year. So for me, I am going to back Foden to be back in the starting 11 going forward for Manchester City. I'm not putting him as a squad option player. Jack Grealish, we're going to be moving on to our first sell. He cost the club $300,000 per week. He's just not good enough to command that type of money. Look, I really like Jack Grealish. I understand what he offers to a side in terms of the control, in terms of the ability to keep possession and bring us up the pitch, all of these type of things, I agree. And in the treble winning season, he was a real top player and he was really important for us. However, 300 grand a week, 7 starts this season, 10 starts the season before. It's just nowhere near good enough. You don't know if he's going to be fit. You don't know if he's going to be on his best form. For me, I would cut ties with Jack Grealish in the summer. As unfortunate as it is, and as much as I like Grealish, that is really the decision that I would make. Ilkay Gundogan. Now, I know, by the way, similar to the Kevin De Bruyne situation, I know he's staying next season. He's another one I'd probably put in sell. Now, I know, obviously, at times this season, he's been very much caught out for legs. I do think part of the reason for that was because Rodri was not in the midfield. I think since we've seen Nico Gonzalez come in, a midfielder that has a bit more physicality to him, we've seen the better side of Ilkay Gundogan in possession of the ball. We're not relying on him to do the tracking back in midfield, which, I mean, is just, you can't rely on a 35-year-old Ilkay Gundogan to be doing that. But for me, I would say cut ties with him in the summer. I know obviously he will be staying next season. The extension to his contract has now been officially announced. So he will be staying next season. I'm not completely opposed to it. But in terms of how I would manage my squad, I would sell Ilkay Gundogan, let him go to Turkey or whatever the decision he would make. I would let him go at the end of the season. Josko Gvardiol, for me, is starting 11. He's proved that to me absolutely unequivocally towards the end of this season. He's been playing at left back. Yes, of course, there's been some, times where he's had a really poor part of the season. I think during the December period, there was about a 2-month period where he was really, really shaky, giving away a lot of goals, really sloppy, poor in possession. However, towards the back end of the season, as a centre-back alongside Ruben Diaz, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And I'll be honest, I didn't think he had it in his locker. As a centre-back, I didn't think he was going to be able to play that position as comfortably as he has and as well as he has towards the end of the season. So fair play to Josko Gvardiol. He goes into my starting 11, a technically absolutely stunning footballer, but he's got so much more to his game as well. So he's going to be a top player for us for many years coming forward. So Josko Gvardiol goes in my starting 11. Erling Haaland, it's not even a question. He just scores so many bloody goals. I mean, he is an absolutely unbelievable player. He is one of the first players on the team sheet every single starting 11 that should be put out. An absolute monster of a footballer. There's just nothing else that's not been said about him that's already been said. So yeah, I mean, that one's self-explanatory. Mateo Kovacic, I would go with squad option. I think he is overhated by a lot of the Manchester City fans, or a good portion of Manchester City fans. I don't think he's had anywhere near as bad of a season as what people have said. I think he does offer something to this Manchester City side. I still think he has relatively decent legs in the midfield. He can get about the park, make a couple challenges. But the ability he has to bring the ball forward through the lines in midfield, to carry the ball through the midfield, I think is very much underrated. His ball carrying ability, some of the goals he scored towards the end of the season for us. I still think Mateo Kovacic has quite a lot to offer in this Manchester City side. I would not cut ties with him. I would not loan him out. I would keep him as a squad option going into next season. Rico Lewis. He's another squad option for me. I think, again, he's another one that gets maybe a little bit too much hate at times. Yes, of course, he's quite a diminutive footballer. He's very young as well, by the way. Physically, he can struggle at times, definitely, especially in specific games in the Premier League against sides that are physical. I do worry about him at sometimes, but I mean, he is a technically brilliant footballer. And as Pep Guardiola said as well, in tight spaces, receiving the ball in tight spaces, he's one of the best players he's ever seen. And he is a very, very technically astute footballer. So I think he's definitely got something to offer to this Manchester City side going forward into next season and beyond. So I'm keeping him as a squad option. James McAtee, this one's tough. I'm going to go loan. If it was my decision, I would loan him out. I actually really like James McAtee. I'm just questioning where he gets in this Manchester City side going forward. That's my problem. And, I know obviously Bayer Leverkusen are after him. I could see him probably going there in the summer. Unfortunately, he probably will be sold. That's just my guess. However, I would loan him out. I would give him game time, make sure he gets game time at a good club, playing in a good division, and then maybe he can come back to Manchester City and prove himself to get in the starting 11 regularly. I know he's got minutes towards the end of the season, but I think going forward, I think the best thing for his development is to play regularly first-team football. So I would loan out James McAtee personally. I mean, I'm sure there's people that will disagree with that in the comments, other Manchester City fans, but that is what I would personally do. Mateus Nunes. If you asked me a month ago, I would have said sell. I would have said sell about a month ago. Mateus Nunes has proven something to me in the last couple of months, and he's shown me what he can offer to this Manchester City side. Is he a right back? No, he's not a right back. Can he attack down that right-hand side very well? Yes. Yes, he can. And I think that there is a role for him in this Manchester City side, playing as more of an attacking right back, someone who, can get cover for him in that right channel. He's never going to be perfect defensively, but I think that Matheus Nunes has proven to me over the last couple of months, he has a role in this Manchester City side to offer. Is he ever going to be a starting 11 player? No. But he'll be a squad option player. So for me, I would keep Matheus Nunes as part of the squad. For Ortega, I'm going to go sell. Now, part of the reason is because I feel like Ortega is getting fed up at Manchester City, as, I think a couple of other goalkeepers have, where they're just not getting in the starting 11. They're not getting that number one spot. And despite, obviously, Ortega getting a lot of starts in the Premier League because Ederson's been injured, he's never probably felt like the number one for Manchester City. So I think that he probably wants to leave, and I think we've been linked to Diogo Costa as well from FC Porto, so I could see maybe, in my world where Ederson stays at the club, you bring in Diogo Costa as a backup, and then obviously maybe a season or two later where Ederson wants to leave, you bring in Diogo Costa as the number one. Ortega, I think he's fed up. I think that he wants to leave the club or be the number one at the club. And I don't think he's going to be the number one going forward for Manchester City. So I would sell him, get a little bit of cash back for him, and then use that to invest in another goalkeeper. Rodri, not even a question. Ballon d'Or winner, goes in the starting 11 without a single question whatsoever. An absolutely phenomenal footballer. Helps control the rhythm, everything about the game. Obviously, the transitions as well, he's really key for. We've seen what Manchester City is like without him in the midfield this season, where we absolutely collapsed during December. No physicality in midfield, no ability to control transitions, no ability to control a football match until we brought in Nico Gonzalez. So yeah, for me, Rodri, absolutely not even a question. He goes in the starting 11. Savinho, I'm going to go... This might be a little bit controversial because I know a lot of Manchester City fans absolutely rave and rant about Savinho, and I'm absolutely there with you. He needs to improve his finishing. That is the thing that's keeping me out of this starting 11. He has a lot to offer to this Manchester City side. However, whenever he gets into finishing positions, he's really poor. And it's not just poor, he's really poor. So for me, I would absolutely have him as a squad option. However, he's very young. He's got a lot to offer to this Manchester City side going forward. He can play off the left. He can play off the right. He will get plenty of minutes at Manchester City. And I do think that he's a player that can potentially put himself and elevate himself into the starting 11. However, for now, I'm putting him in the squad option area. I do think that, like your Jeremy Doku, you can rotate him in and out in certain games until he proves he can score and assist on a consistent basis and be ruthless in the final third. I'm keeping him in the squad option area. Then we have Bernardo Silva. This one hurts. This one really hurts. I'm selling Bernardo Silva. I think we need to start transitioning this squad, and obviously that is what this window is all going to be about. Bernardo Silva has been absolutely sensational for this football club. I love Bernardo Silva. He's been one of my favourite players at Manchester City for a long, long time. Has he had a good season this season? No. However, he's still a brilliant footballer. For me personally, I just think that he's getting past his best years now. You can still recoup a good amount of money for him. I think you could probably sell him for around the 30-40 million mark, maybe even more. If I know obviously his release clause is more than that. I think he wants to go to Benfica. I think Benfica want him. So I think that it's probably the most logical decision to let go of him in the summer, even though it's an immensely emotional player to let leave the club. But for me, Bernardo Silva would probably be sold this summer if it was up to me. I probably think the club will make that decision as well in the summer. Moving on to Omar Marmoush. I actually think he's proven to me that he's good enough for a starting 11 spot. He has been absolutely exceptional for us whenever he's played. His goal return and his assist return might not reflect how good he's been. I know obviously there's been a couple of games where he scored quite a few goals. I think he got a hat-trick obviously against Newcastle United. For me, I just think that what he has shown, running off the ball, coming short, the ability he has to go past a man, create stuff out of nothing, he is going to be a top player for us going forward. And absolutely, for me, he's proven that he is going to be a starting 11 player. I believe in Marmoush. I'll be completely honest. John Stones, another emotional one. He's got to go. I mean, we have brought in a lot of centre-backs to the club. Obviously, we brought in Vitor Reis. We brought in Kusanov as well. Stones just doesn't play enough. He's played, I think, 6 games this season, or started 6 games. The season before, I think he started 10. I could be wrong saying that, but I'm pretty sure that is the statistics. Just not good enough for a player that is costing the club 250 grand a week. An absolutely sensational centre-back, don't get me wrong, when he's fit. He's got unbelievable ability on the ball. Can obviously come into the midfield role, play that role really well as well. He came back even off of a couple of injuries and played in the Champions League and had a sensational performance from holding midfield. He's never fit. He is never fit. So for me, I would cut ties with John Stones, as emotional as it would be in the summer. He is an absolutely exceptional player, achieved so much at the club. He's just never fit, and it's getting exhausting at this point. We need reliable players at the club. So John Stones would leave the club for me. Kyle Walker, he's another sell. He ditched us in the middle of the season in our toughest period that we've had since he even joined the club. That's not captain material for me. As much as I love him for what he's done for the football club, he's been absolutely sensational. One of the best right backs we've ever seen in the Premier League, if not the best right back we've ever seen in the Premier League. Locking down Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, absolutely exceptional in his prime. He's definitely fallen off a level in the last year or so. And I just think that after what he did, leaving the club in January, basically saying, I want to leave, I don't think we can keep him. So, I would sell Kyle Walker. I think most Manchester City fans would be in that boat as well. Nico Gonzalez, squad option for me. He's been really, really good. As Pep Guardiola called him, the mini Rodri. That is exactly what he is. He is like a mini Rodri in the midfield. He's not as good as Rodri, obviously, but he's quite young. He's also got the potential to play further in the midfield. If you look at his statistics before he joined us earlier in the season, he was getting goals, getting assists. So I think he could be a really interesting player for us next season alongside Rodri in the midfield. He's not quite starting 11 quality, but for me, he goes in the squad option. Been really impressed with him so far this season. Kusanov, he's another one I would put in the squad option. He's proven to us that he's got a lot of qualities in terms of the pace he has, the recovery pace, the desire to make challenges, the willingness to defend. He has got a lot of qualities. He just needs to he needs to just sharpen up on, certain edges in terms of, he is a little bit clumsy at times in terms of, his foot positioning, even against the Chelsea game when he goes up for that header. His foot positioning is a bit clunky, a bit awkward. He'll brush up on these things. He's in training with unbelievable quality of players every single day. I am absolutely convinced he will become a very good player for us. But as it is right now, a squad option, especially with the emergence of the Gvardiol-Diaz partnership. But I'm really, really interested to see what he can do for us going forward, because I do think he can become a top player. So he goes in the squad option for me. Wait, is this not... Have I messed something up? I went with Marmoush, right? Who is that? Boys, I've just realised something. I've put Simpson Pussy in starting 11. Let's just quickly... No one saw that, okay? I've gone with Marmoush in starting 11. Simpson Pussy. For me, I think I'd loan Simpson Pussy out. He obviously had a couple of games for us in the middle of the season when we were really struggling. I felt really sorry for him when we started him against Sporting. Out of absolutely nowhere, he starts against Sporting, up against the most informed striker in the world at the point, Gyökeres. He scored a hat-trick. We lost 4-1. I felt really bad for him, but I think there were certain elements of his game which I think were positives. I thought his distribution looked good at points. I thought he didn't look too bad defensively for being a very, very young player starting for Manchester City in the games that he was starting in. So I think that he has development room, but I just don't see him getting in the Manchester City squad anytime soon with, Kusanov in there now as well. So I would loan out Simpson Pussy. And then moving on to Scott Carson. He decides when he leaves the football club, lads. We may not ever see him in a Manchester City shirt again, playing an actual game for us again. It doesn't matter. He is vibes around the dressing room. He is the guy in training. The amount of times I've seen him wrestling with a player on a Manchester City video that's been posted. He is just all vibes, and he is a part of what makes this Manchester City dressing room what it is. So for me, I'm keeping Scott Carson. He decides when he gets to leave the football club. Yan Couto, I would go sell. Now, obviously, I do think that we need to bring in a right back because Kyle Walker will be leaving the club. We don't have a natural right back at the club. However, for me, Yan Couto, He's just not proven enough, even though he had a good spell at Girona. I think we should go for one of the best right backs we possibly can. Maybe not Yan Couto. So for me, sell Yan Couto, get the funds, obviously use that towards another right back. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to get, 20, 30 million out of him. So that'll be a little bit of money for the rebuild. Calvin Phillips, he's got to go. Calvin Phillips has got to go. And it sucks because when Calvin Phillips joined, I was really excited to see how he would work in this Manchester City side, how he would kind of deputise for Rodri in certain games. That's what I thought his role was going to be. Maybe if he could play alongside Rodri as a pressing midfielder. It's just not worked out for him. He's not fit the style at Manchester City whatsoever. It's been a bit of a car crash signing, if we're being completely honest. Probably the worst signing that we've made under Pep Guardiola. I can't think of one that's been worse for the money that we paid. So yeah, unfortunately, Calvin Phillips, I love you, but you've got to go. Then to finish it off, even though there is one player in my mind that's not on this list, but to finish it off with Vitor Reis, I'm putting him in the loan section. He's not featured whatsoever for Manchester City since he has joined the club in January. And look, maybe he's not ready. That's absolutely fine. But I think we need to loan him out. We need to give him some match experience, get him up to the level so that we can, use him going forward, because he's supposed to be a real top centre half in the making. So that would complete my list. There's another player in my mind that's not on this list, which is, of course, Nico O'Reilly. Nico O'Reilly goes in my squad option. So I think outside of that, that covers every single Manchester City player that I can think of right now. If I've missed one, let me know in the comments below. I'll reply on where I would put him in my tier list. But this is the tier list. I think that this is pretty accurate. I think that, there's a lot of players we got to move on in the summer. To sell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players is a lot of players, but we can recoup some money, use that towards the rebuild. We've obviously got to sign a few players as well, so I will be doing a video on players that we should be signing. So that will be coming at some point forward. But I think that that's fair enough. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I wrong for saying loan McAtee? I'm now looking at it thinking maybe we should keep him in the squad, stuff like that. So maybe I'm wrong. Oscar Bob is also not in here, by the way. That's just coming to my mind. Oscar Bob I'd have in the squad option for next season as well. But yeah, that is the tier list of the Manchester City squad of my keep and sell and loans. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If there's anything you disagree with, let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Please hit the subscribe button if you do enjoy the content. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.